everything you got, if it's still taken away from you for whatever reason, then I mean there's a peace knowing,
absolutely
well, at least I didn't have regrets. Like,
Yep.
you know, like never having regrets. And the way you do that is by always giving everything, which is hard because there's a vulnerability there, and it's exhausting physically, emotionally, mentally, like spiritually. But it's like, you know, giving everything you have is, I mean, it's crucial.
That's
you know,
awesome.
living with passion and not settling and not giving less than the best that you've got to whatever you're, you know, is under your jurisdiction in your life.
That makes sense. So with you learning all that in soccer, when your time for you to finish playing at the University of Tennessee came, was there any more drive or any more hope for a professional soccer career?
No, I was so done by then. Like,
done.
It was a great 4 years, and I learned a lot, and it was really humbling. But I mean, I did not want to go play overseas. I did not want to go pro. Like, I was done.
You was done.
Like, yeah. And I'd had some health issues the last couple years, and so I mean, at that point, it was just like, I mean, it was an uphill battle.
Yeah.
You know, so. Yeah, I was at peace with being done, but at the same time, after that very last game from the NCAA tournament when we lost, like my senior year, I mean, it was so sobering because I was really thankful that I had the Lord as like my sole identity because it makes you wonder who the heck you are, you know, like, because literally the second that buzzer went off and you just look around and you're like, I'm not a soccer player anymore.
Done.
You know, like,
Done.
This is not who I am anymore.
Right.
I can't fall back or rely on this identity anymore. And shoot, that's a terrible feeling.
It is. So knowing that you were done, like, what was your next? Hey, this is what I'm going to do next in life. I played soccer up to this point. This is what I'm going to. Did you have an idea? Was it?
Well,
I'm not really sure. What was that like from your perspective, knowing that you didn't want to go on? I know you probably had some teammates that probably wanted to go on.
And some of them did. And I mean, I think that before I even got to that place, that there was a grieving process. And I think it's really important for, you know, future athletes and athletes who are, you know, getting ready to come to the end of their careers to understand that it's okay to grieve the loss of that sport. You know, to grieve the loss of that chapter of your lives where that sport was one of your main identities. Mm-hmm. And so I think all of us in our own ways went through that grieving process, some of us in healthier ways than others. You know, some of the ways that people grieve their life after sport is really, you know, it's really debilitating and destructive. But some ways, you know, for me, like I really had to take a few weeks and just grieve that part of my identity dying, if that makes any sense. And then after I was able to kind of like cry through it and, you know, like come to that sobering place. Listen, I don't cry a lot either, but it's an emotional time.
Superwoman cries. It does happen.
I also broke my nose 4 times in 9 different places at UT. So there's a fun fact.
Yeah.
I cried then too. But yeah, it's like once you kind of wake up from that and like the reality sets in, then for me it was like, I've got to finish school.
Yeah.
Like it's time to get to this. And I wound up actually changing my major at one point and changing it back, which is why it took that extra year. But then you just focus on the next right thing.
Yeah.
You know, and that was, for me, that was finishing school because we are fall season. So technically I would have graduated in 2009, even though the season ended in 2008. But I just started focusing on school, focusing on friends. I was able to go to T-Rex and I would do this like hip hop dance class.
Something you've always wanted to do.
I didn't know I wanted to do it, but it was super fun because it wasn't like Zumba or anything. Like they would come up with their own like choreography. So you get to do kind of fun things for once. You get to see what it's like to be a normal person.
Yeah.
You know, like soccer was my sorority.
Yeah.
Just way cooler.
Very true.
And
Very
I mean,
no,
once you're, I'm just kidding. I'm serious.
Yeah, serious.
But yeah, once you're out of it, you know, once you go through that grieving, then it's kind of like, well, I can do some other things.
Right.
It just opens some other things up for you to do. And then eventually, I mean, I went back in the weight room and I was hitting the weight room, like the Lady Ball weight room for the last, like, for my 5th year too. So with Heather Mason, because she's the best. But
so once you did it, how did you had the Lord already had him as your identity, but how did you feel? Okay, soccer's done, school, graduate, and then what? Like, once you got to that thought process right there, what was because professional soccer was not up there. What did you want to be? Or what did you want to do?
I had gone through a lot of different scenarios of what I wanted to be. So
we all do.
I mean, I still am going through, like, what do I want to be when I grow up? I mean, I struggled for a while. Like, it was hard after I graduated because there were so many different options, and I kind of felt frozen for a little bit. So I actually worked at Knoxville Orthopedic Clinic for 1.5 years with Dr. Mathian and Dr. Betcher. Shout out. I love them. Mm-hmm. They're amazing. They're the UT surgeons. And that was just such an eye-opening experience. I learned a whole lot. And from there, I mean, I was also coaching soccer.
So you stuck around and used your stage and your network and your connections to kind of help get the ball rolling or start to make the next transition to find that next purpose or that next passion of yours.
Yeah, and I coached soccer for 1.5 years also, and with the best group of girls ever. It was a cool season. It was just a weird season, you know. But then after that, I mean, enter Beauty Hunters, you know.
So Beauty Hunters. So this is what I wanted to get to, because Beauty Hunters comes up. When did you fall into your new purpose or your new passion? Like, how did that come about?
Well, I had always sworn I would never be like an aerobics instructor or a fitness person because my mom was, and she's like, want to be like she's mom. Extremely, like, she's an addict, and so I just immaturely associated that, and I was just like, I never want to be like her, and just, you know, it was immature. And it's funny because, you know, you tell God what you're not going to do, and he's like, that's funny because you're actually going to do it right now. And so I started developing a passion for it when I was at KOC and they did a Biggest Loser challenge, and all the girls were asking me to train them. So I started training them for free 4 days a week, you know, anybody who wanted to. And I got to see them start to change, and their bodies change, and they were excited, and just self-efficacy wise they were changing and seeing things they're capable of doing that they never thought they could do. And it was just, man, I just came alive. Like, I came alive, and so much passion started just bubbling up, you know, as a result of that. And I was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to do this. And I mean, then an Under Armour competition came around, and it was an online competition where you set some big athletic goal and you pursue it, and it's an 8-week thing. I found out 7 weeks in, I was like, I'm not doing this. And then God's like, yeah, you are. And I was like, what do you want me to do? Because I'd torn my hamstring in February of that year. So, I mean, I was still very raw and recovering from that. And so it was like, some people are like, I'm going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro and like crazy things. And I was like, what am I going to do? Rehab my hamstring and run a 5K? Like, no, you know, because I'm so all or nothing. Right. And so finally, I just felt like God was just like, this time, Sarah, it's not going to be about you. And I just remember being like, well, that's annoying. You know, like, not about you. That's good. I was like, that's great. What do you want then? And I just finally, like, over the next few hours, he just kind of revealed his vision. He's like, I want you to train these women for free and show them that they are beautiful, they are strong, and just redefine what beauty means and what strength means, you know, and that it's not fitting into a certain age, shape, size, or fitness level, that it's something everybody already has in them, but they just don't see it, you know, because our culture is just ridiculous. And so, I mean, it was really, I mean, I was like, okay, you know. And so at the time I was teaching 9 classes a week for free for women, and I did that through the rest of the competition. And so I initially had set my goal to get 30 to 60 women moving, active, healthy, learning to love themselves. And then within like 3 days, I already had 30 people signed up. Wow. And I hand wrote all this stuff out, copied it, like was handing out. I still have it, because like just to like see where we started. Wow. I didn't even think about typing it up. And so yeah, and so when I had already like 30 something women signed up, I was like, screw that, like I'm going for 100, like goal setter. So I was like, I'm going for 100. And then, you know, after a few more weeks we had 100, and then I was like, I'm going for 200, and then 300, and then it was over 350 by the end of the 8 weeks, you know. And I wound up winning the competition and having like, you know, a 2 or 3 year stint, like being kind of sponsored by Under Armour, and that was an incredible experience. I got to go to Costa Rica with them. I got to go teach their breast cancer Power in Pink campaign athlete class. They flew me up to Baltimore to do it, to their campus, and there are just a lot of really neat things that that I've been able to do, like that I was able to do. Great experiences. And then, so after the 8 weeks, it was like, it was supposed to just be over. And I just felt like, I was like, this isn't done. You know, everybody was so sad. And so, like, and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And so, yeah, I just wound up, August 17th, I wound up leaving my job, at the orthopedic clinic, and they were so supportive and just so like incredible to do Beauty Hunters full time. And then that following January, I started personal training, which I swore I'd never do.
Right.
And I always would joke that I personal train to support my beauty hunter habit. but I've been doing it ever since, and that was 2012.
Wow.
So, and now we have like over 3,000 women on our email list, and you know, we've got anywhere from 20 to over 100 women in each boot camp class, and it's pretty amazing.
Now, that is unreal. So my question, because a lot of athletes, they and just like you did, you took this leap of faith, doing something, finding your purpose, and it ended up turning into something that turned into a purpose and a lifestyle and a passion
Right.
of yours. But during that process, you had no coaching of business skills, none of these other things.
I still hate that part.
Right. So what part of the game do you feel you was able to take and apply? Because what it looks like is you just found out how to build a good team around you.
Yeah. And that is something that is so huge. That's something I had to learn and I've had to learn the business aspect, unfortunately, because I hate it. I wish that I would give the farm away for free if I could. Like, that's just how I am. And I've had to have, like, the Lord's put people around me I'm a dreamer and a visionary, and I see all these big dreams and big things that I can do. And God's had to put people around me. They're like, taking the balloons out of the sky and starting to try and put feet to these visions and feet to these dreams practically, you know, because otherwise they'd just stay up there and I'd just be floating in the clouds and nothing would ever get done.
Floating in the clouds is cool, but
it doesn't, make a paycheck and it doesn't change anything.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, and it doesn't fuel a movement, you know, like there's energy that'll get a movement started, but it's, you know, it's the business aspect and it's the communication and it's like things that I still suck at, but I'm getting better at, you know, that create the longevity for things like that. And so, God just put a group of people around me, you know, who have changed at times, but all like always, like we've had a really consistent group for the last like 4 years. And I mean, it's been amazing to see what he's done because, I mean, it's just when you have people who can, not only that you can learn from, you know, learn from their business savviness, learn from the way that they can market or this, that, or the other, like, but that's an amazing aspect, but also people who can do the things you can't because we can't do everything. We're not meant to do everything. And so exactly what you said, like being able to have that team and that camaraderie around you that gets stuff done, you know, it's pretty amazing.
That sounds just like your soccer team. You had everybody knows their roles.
Yeah.
And when you come together and play as a team, that's how you get the type of successful business that you have.
Look at you.
That's how it works. That's the name of the game. So let me ask you this. As we get into life now, and you just kind of gave them a snapshot of your life now, once you got done playing, if there was some lessons in a book or a curriculum or a class you could have took that said, hey, Sarah, you can learn this lesson, this lesson. So now, by the time you get in life or in business, you already understand what you're going to need to know to make this thing work. If there was a book or a curriculum out there, what lessons do you feel you would have wanted to have learned on the front end in college before you got into the real world?
Well, I think that one lesson that recurs over and over just in different aspects of our life is something you can't learn in college, and that's pain. You know, you just can't. I mean, like you have physical pain and things like that, whether it's like an illness or you just going to tackles hard or whatever. Right. But I mean, pain has been one of the biggest teachers for me in my life. Like the painful moments, my mom almost dying, like her being in and out of jail, like my ex-husband divorcing me, you know, getting knocked up, like all of these things, like, and so many more, you know, like losing my niece at 30 days old. Like, I mean, the list can just go on of just the things that the Lord's allowed me to go through. And that pain is like, when you're in the middle of that, that's when you make a choice, you know, whether your pain's going to have a purpose or not. And I have learned the most lessons when I've been in the middle of pain. And I've not always chosen the right ways when I'm in the middle of pain, you know, but you learn from it. And that's the difference, I think, between somebody who who's successful and who's not isn't how many times they mess up. It's how many times are they going to learn from it? Are they going to grow from it? Are they going to use that situation or those circumstances to become better or bitter? You know, like what way are they going to go? And you know, I think I've gone both ways at different times, but it's amazing how